Hey, you crazy cats! 42's live streams and videos are simply not available on vinyl. You will have to go to the YouTubes for that. So if you want content about British traditions and culture, cutting edge social commentary from an unapologetically patriotic perspective, along with a side order of madness you simply will not find anywhere else, then this is the place for you. And to all those early adopters in the chat, don't forget to hit the notification bell. That's how you get the good stuff, and make sure you never miss a tasty treat. So with that being said and done, squeeze yourself in. Let's get into it. You know you want to. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Please delete is applicable because the internet is worldwide and time zones are indeed still a thing. Can I get a wee audio check in the chat, please, just to make sure this is all working? I will say a couple of hellos. Hopefully my chat is working. So far I've got Budgie Burger. And you really want to go back and read Budgie Burger's comments, including it's corrupt to the fucking core. It is. Yeah, go read all Budgie Burger stuff. Packer saying that Mrs. Packer has said that it is broken, and we will move on to the why, how, and also hopefully how do we fix it. Packer's in, Budgie Burger's in. Hello, what? Amanda Lee's in, telling me we're good, loud and clear. Packer's giving me an audio good as well. So we're all good. And the comments are working. Normally, the last Saturday of the month, we have a Pirates of the Tonks waffle, which isn't happening this week for a number of reasons. Sam G, what about you, chum? Welcome aboard. Sansom's off busy doing things. I hope he's having a good time and all's going well, but he's not available. Our pal, who was going to do it with me, he had some obligations come up at the last minute and needed to cancel. I don't really like scrambling about for one guest for the last Saturday because I don't think it's fair. I think whenever people are up against bringing in stories such as the sperm cocktails and the shit steaks, that I think whenever that's the standard of stories people need to find, it's only fair to give them at least 2 to 3 weeks to try and source such a story. So the next 3-way of madness was going to be on the last Saturday of July, and I will be sending off an invitation to a guest probably 1st, 2nd July, Monday, Tuesday, thereabouts. So there's that. Another couple of people come in. We've got a mob in from down under. Don Browning's in. What about you? How's it going down there? And Courage is a cure. If you want to keep up with general madness that's going on in the world, follow Courage is a Cure. Robin does a really good job on explaining all that stuff and letting everybody know where we're going. So that's good. Ali Season, what about you? Glad to have you aboard. Hope the gig's going well tonight. Al Mac is performing tonight, so there's that. 77 Brigade is in. What about you? Nah. Yes, as I said, Sanson's away. So the shout outs, housekeeping, whatever you want to call it, is going to be a little bit rough and rowdy. So I would guess that Ragnar Iron Spear will be streaming tomorrow evening at approximately 7 o'clock, and they will have a guest. I believe that should be the uh I will put Pakistan here and rerun that. If you probably haven't seen, you haven't read your Telegram messages, but if you want to jump on for a bit now or later on, please do. I actually think what I want to talk about tonight with the Parliament and whatnot, I think that would be a decent conversation. So if you want to come on for that, let me know. I will get you a link. Right. Uh, yeah, I know you haven't, but there you go. Right. One momento. All right. Packet, check your Telegram, and there is a link there if you want to come on. Just jump yourself in whenever you want. Uh, what else we'll have? Yes. So, Rex tomorrow night will probably be the Angry Booknet. Booknet, that's what he normally schedules the end of the month. John Davison on a Tuesdays and Fridays at 9 p.m. Robin, as I mentioned before, Courage is a Cure if you want the info from all around the world. Other regular shout out is Mr. Dave Waffle House. If you want somewhere to get away from all the politics and the madness and real life and just chill out for an hour and a half, Dave Waffle House is a man. He does that every weeknight starting at 8:30. Good crowd, friendly crack, friendly chat, win prizes. It's all sham and drivel, but it's good sham and drivel. So get yourself over there. So there's that. What else? Oh, I did have something else. Uh, Monday Night Coming. Oh, of another one to share out. Sansom is doing a stream on the 4th of July with guests, and they are talking about the election, the politics, the exit polls, all that type of stuff. So if you want that, there's that. One minute. Right. Okay, sorry. Just go. Billy, were you cooking? Did you burn your finger doing some cookie stuff? Sticking your hand in the frying pan? Some madness like that? I hope it's not too serious. Get it underwater. Keep it underwater. And then whenever you think it's time for it to come out of the water, uh, keep it on the water for some time longer and get the cooking effect stopped in your hand and seek medical attention. Nothing here is medical advice. Consult your pharmacist, doctor, burn surgeon, whatever it is you need to do to get the professional advice. But I would say get that hand into some water and keep it cold. Now, yes, Monday coming is the 1st of July. For those of you that may or may not know, 1st of July is the anniversary of the Battle of the Somme in Northern Ireland. We commemorate that because it has a lot to do with the 36th Division Ulster Volunteer Force and the forming of our country. The fact that they were formed and then agreed to amalgamate with the British Army is how we got to have a country. So there's a big commemoration of that. I am considering I'm considering live streaming that. Let me know in the comments. Well, it's 1 second. Oh, holy fuck! Sorry, uh, had a bit of a issue there. Uh, I've got Packet in the backdrop of bring him on. Packet,
Hello.
what about you, Sean?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yep, cool.
Right. Oh, sorry. Right. Right. My sister decided she was going to phone me right at that moment. My dad is in hospital with he fell and broke his hip, and he now has a new half a hip, and he's getting physio done and stuff. And my sister decided now was the exact time she needed to phone me to tell him to talk to me about slippers for him. But there you go. There is that. Right. But there you go. How's yourself?
I'm all good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm now back to being calm and relaxed.
You were there the other night for, was it last night for the calendar talk?
For the calendar talk, yes.
Yeah,
I heard all about that.
I was winding Dave up with that.
Yeah,
It
I
was
thought you
funny.
were.
Yeah, I'm about to do that as I'm about to do that as you are to enter the Olympics.
Yeah. I was thinking about how I could possibly put a picture of me up that doesn't have my face.
Well, it's simply if you do your avatar pose.
Yes. Yeah. Well, say
Simple solution.
yeah, I, I'm not quite as good as the avatar looks at as yet, but I have lost a little bit of weight
That's
since I
irrelevant.
yeah.
The joy and the joke is that everyone will know that it's you, and still
Yep.
no one will know what you look like.
Yeah. That's the joy of it. Yes. We may actually do that. Anyway.
I'm not doing it. I was
Yep.
just winding Dave up.
Yep. Oh, there's on the hunter.
I'll be happy to be on it. So far, I went back and looked, and for all the chat that there was so far on board is me and Almac, and that's it.
Yeah.
So
That's about where I would expect it to stay.
yeah,
Yep. Right. Paca, here's a question for you. Which I already know what your answer is. Do you think our parliament system is broken?
yes.
Right. Do you think it's
So
fixable?
I wouldn't. Well, it depends where you. Right. So broken. Yeah. It depends where you look at it from. From some people's perspective, I would say it's very much fixed.
Yeah.
From where
Now,
I stand, I would say it's very much rigged
right. Now,
or broken is another
would
word I
you
would use.
agree? Would you agree with me that the general aim that we, the citizens of the country, want is to have an ability to affect the policies of the people who run the country?
That is allegedly how a democracy works.
Right. Right. That's the aim. And
Yeah.
we're currently at the point where everybody can participate in elections, which
Yep.
was not historically the case, right?
Cool.
And now we need to move past that hurdle and on to the next stage of making the government workforce. Because what I'm thinking is my plan, what I was planning for doing is look at history from where we started, from where Parliament began, which is back with the Anglo Saxons, and they might have been able to elect a knight from their shire to go and speak for their shire at the meetings and stuff. And we progressed through there through many things. What I was going to do is go through the history of Parliament to where we are now. And I would say we are, say, from at least 1,500 years into the process of trying to get the government to enact our will. And it's only been the last 100 years of that we've had the ability to vote people in directly. So we shouldn't expect that on its own to be working just quite yet.
Go on.
Right. Okay. Right.
Oh, see, I'm looking at it from the other perspective. Is that it's kind of given that modern democracy was born on these islands,
Right. Yes.
and that these islands were formed by the likes of the Anglo-Saxons coming
Right.
here and having to make a set of
Right.
rules that appeased everyone.
Right. Okay. Will we begin to look at these rules where they started from?
Yeah,
When they
everyone was
started?
happy.
Right. And right. Here's my plan. I'll pull up the history of Parliament as according to Britannica, and we'll go through that one. Back to this. Present. Share screen. All right. Let's see how's that come up. It has, and it's large enough. Parliament, the original legislative assembly for England, Scotland, or Ireland, and successively Great Britain and United Kingdom, legislators in some countries that were once British colonies are also known as parliaments. British Parliament, often referred to as the mother of parliaments, consists of the sovereign, the House of Lords, and the House of Commons. Originally meaning talk, the word was used in the 13th century to describe after-dinner discussions between monks and their cloisters. In 1239, the English Benedictine monk Matthew Paris, the Abbey of St. Albans, applied the term council meeting between prelates, earls, and barons, and it was also used in 1245 to refer to a meeting called by Pope Innocent the Fourth in Lyon, France. So that the word, right? Historical development. Modern parliaments trace their history to the 13th century when the sheriffs of English counties sent their knights to the king to provide financial matters. Kings, however, generally desired the knights' assent to new taxation and not their advice. Therefore, in the 13th century, King Edward, so we're in 1272, the 1300, called joint meetings of two governmental institutions, the Magnum Council and the Greater Council, comprising of the ecclesiastical magnates of the Cura Regis or King's Court, a much smaller body, semi-professional advisors. At those meetings, the Cura Regis that came to be called some Latin shit, the King's Council and Parliament.
Concilium.
Pardon? Concilium Regis in Parlamento, the King's Council and Parliament. Judicial problems might be settled that had proved beyond the scope of the ordinary law courts dating from the 12th century. The members of Cura Regis were preeminent and often remained to complete business after the magnates had been sent home. The proceedings of the Parliament were not formally ended until they had accomplished their tasks. To about 1 in 7 of these meetings, Edward followed precedents from his father's time, summons knights from their shires, and burgesses from the towns they appear with the magnets. So we're back in 1295, and we've got this thing called the Model Parliament. It was widely regarded as the first representative parliament that included the lower clergy for the first time, as well as two knights from each county, two burgesses from each borough, and two citizens from each city. The early 14th century, the practice developed of conducting debates between the lords, spiritual and temporal, in one chamber or house, and between the knights and burgesses in another. Strictly speaking, they were and still are three houses: the king and his council, the lords, spiritual, temporal, commons. But in the 15th century, the knights of the House of Lancaster were usually forced to take all their councillors from among the lords, and later on the House of Tudor, it became the practice to find sets of common privy councillors that were not lords. I'm going to stop it there. Uh, that were not lords. I'm going to take that up the there. Right. So back then, we had no actual real representation from the people. But that's the beginning of the struggle to get to where we are. Does that sound any way sensible?
I'll go with that.
Right. Because we've had peasants' revolts, we've had uprisings, we've had fucking civil wars and shit, which we're going to come to later. And each one of those has moved the dial a little bit further on what the parliament is and how it acts and how it represents us. And I think we're pretty. It's only whenever we'll look back at the distance we've came from, realize how far we've came, and perhaps the only way out is through or over, and we need to push and get the rest of the changes we need, or at least change how we're doing it. Sorry, I'm just checking through the chat. Right, that's okay. I'm up to date with everything. Right. I shall continue on. Meanwhile, the greater cohesion of the Privy Council, achieved in the 14th century, separated in practice from the Parliament, and their decline of Parliament's judicial function led to an increase in its legislative activity. Originally now not only from the formal royal initiative, but by petitions or bills framed by groups within Parliament itself. Bills, if ascended to the King, became Acts of Parliament, eventually under King Henry VII from 1422 to 1471. The assent of both the House of Lords, a body now based largely on hereditary, and the House of Commons was also required. So at this point, you would recognise the Parliament. You would recognise, you'd 100% recognise the two bits that it needs to go through. You've got people facing each other and debating the issues, but there's no common people. There's no genuinely common people in there. The commons just means that they don't have a title. They're not commoners as we would understand them. It didn't come from a factory floor. Under resorted to such that unpopular measures and all major political changes were affected by acts of Parliament. In 1830 or 1430, Parliament divided electoral constituencies to the House of Commons into counties and boroughs. Males who owned a freehold property worth at least 40 shillings could vote. These elections, the members of the House of Commons were wealthy. They were not paid and were required to have an annual income of at least £600 a year. and for county seats, it's 300 and, and 300 in borough seats. So at this point, our MPs are not just doing it for because they want to improve the place, they're paying for the privilege. Although one would question how they intended to get that money back. In most boroughs, very few individuals could vote, and some members were elected by less than a dozen electors because very few people had land that was worth 40 shillings, and this becomes important. This bit doesn't really change until 1920. These rotten boroughs were eventually eliminated by the Reform Bill of 1832. So what they did is they went through and cleaned up the boundaries and shuffled people into other boundaries and made the thing uh, more democratic. As parliamentary sessions became more regular from the 15th to 17th centuries, legislation in 1694 eventually required that Parliament met at least once every 3 years. So another date to pin here in before 1694, Parliament may only have met once or twice a year. A class of professional parliamentarians developed, some of whom were used by the king to secure assent to his measures. Others would sometimes disagree with his measures and encourage the Commons to reject them. Though the firm idea of an organised opposition did not develop until much later. So at this point, we're seeing at least debate and discourse on the matters. However, it's a very select body of people that are getting in there, and therefore that is going to be limited. Paca, anything on that?
No, I find it interesting that they think they can argue amongst themselves at the very top echelon of
Well,
society. I think that's going to work for everyone else.
well, like they currently do.
Yeah,
But we we're getting closer to being at that table and in that conversation, but we're not there. Uh, Amanda, I don't know how assassinating the king because he's a Protestant and putting a Catholic on the throne is going to change Parliament, and that's what.
Parliament needs to go. The king can stay. I'm
Yeah,
fine with that.
no, but Guy Fawkes wasn't trying to stop Parliament; he was trying to
No.
replace the king, which is two totally different things. We do have quite the unfortunate thing with English oral history, in that you have had yours severed from you, and therefore some of your traditions no longer work for you, such as Guy Fawkes, because we've fully lost the original intent. People think that he was there to stop Parliament. He wasn't. No intentions with Parliament whatsoever. He wanted it to continue just with a different king. Right. In the 17th century, Parliament became a revolutionary body and the centre of resistance to the king during the English Civil War. The Restoration period of 1660 to 88 saw the development of the Whig and Tory factions, ancestors of the later political parties, the modern parliamentary system, as well as the principle of parliamentary sovereignty, quickly developed after the Glorious Revolution of William III, which happened in 1670. I don't know where they're getting their dates from. Glorious Revolution, the final victory was the 12th of July, 1691, the Battle of Acre. But selected as ministers from among political parties and Parliament, though they were not subject to control by either house. Whilst the convention that governments would automatically resign if they lost elections had not yet developed, monarchs began to adjust the composition of the Privy Council according to the Parliament. Later, cabinet officials were appointed from among the party, commanding the majority to the House of Commons. So, up until 1690 anyway, we have no real uh, input into the system. That's after fighting the Civil War and putting the king out and chopping his head off. But this is part of the struggle to take us to where we are now. Or am I totally fucking off on a mad tangent with a brain fart, mate? Speak to me.
No, not at all. I mean, this is how apparently the greatest democracy in the world ever developed. It's very
Yeah.
interesting.
Um,
I mean, people talk about our system of democracy like it's been forever, but it hasn't.
no. And if you go back 150 years, you and I do not get the vote. If if you go back to the outbreak of World War One, you and I were healthy 22-year-olds. We are totally eligible to be drafted,
Yeah,
but we have no eligibility to vote.
no, and that's the system we were in. But that is also the system that produced the greatest empire the world has ever seen.
Yes, it did.
Before we all had the vote. So
Uh,
it's at very least it's worth a cursory look to
yeah,
see if
yes.
if there's anything there that we can take.
Oh, well, the other thing is, if you look at this chronologically, this is a beef I have with how we're taught history, and generally that happens in school. Uh, unless you're from very few areas of Great Britain, the traditional oral history is gone. So basically, you're talking about school, and it's like they've got 1,000-piece jigsaw, and they take out 200 pieces and hand that to you without the box, without the picture, and from looking at these selected 200 pieces, expect you to understand the picture and are confused that you don't, or possibly they've taught it in such a way that they didn't want you to understand the full picture. Uh, Jerry, I'm screenshotting that because I've never heard of that act, but I would be very interested in reading it. Sorry, I'm just getting that off. Yeah, there is two problems. Who's allowed to vote is a large problem, and the fact that our kids are taught more about Black History Month than our actual history. Here, Paca, well, as we're going through this, any surprises as yet?
No, I didn't know. I had no idea where this stream was even going. I mean,
Well,
I walked in here, as I said to start with the idea that yes, the whole thing's already fucking broken.
yeah, I I think it's broken. I I'm coming to I've come to a conclusion that we need to understand how it got the word out. We need to understand how our country got the where it was, and we're only ever going to do that if we start looking at it in chronological order, and the things that we have in chronological order, and we can figure out, because up until relatively recently, this country was fucking awesome.
Yes.
And if we can figure out where the legislation changed to make it not so,
Right. So
maybe that.
there's a Grouch. Is it a Groucho Marx? Is it Groucho Marx quote where he said, "Anyone that ever expressed an interest in being a politician should automatically be barred from ever being anywhere near any power whatsoever."
Oh, ideally, you
Yeah,
want people.
right. So, but we're
Right.
currently living in a system where it's full of those people.
Yeah.
The whole world is run by those people, and
The,
that is not how that isn't democracy.
the people we need running the country are people that other people have bullied and harassed into doing the job. That were living their best life, doing stuff, and other people have went, you have to go do this job. But I want to play golf and stuff like shit. You can do that in your time off. We need you to do this job because you would be good at it. Whereas what we've got is a popularity contests where surprise, surprise, the fucking narcissists win.
Go on,
Oh,
I've got no answer for you. I mean,
right,
I get the system's fucked, but
yeah,
I just don't.
right. Where was it? Right. So, House of Lords. By the late 17th century, the power of the monarch had declined, and the relationship between the Lords and the Commons had shifted in favour of the Commons. When the Whig majority in the House of Lords threatened to reject the Treaty of Utrecht with France in 1712, the government created enough Tory peerages in the House to guarantee the support of its policy, a precedent that firmly established the superiority of the House of Commons. So, what had happened was the House of Commons had a the way that the way the two the check and balance is supposed to be. You're supposed to have lords that stay there for a very long time, and they're few in number and have to be carefully selected. They got to be a lord, and if the House of Commons does something batshit crazy, the lords stop them, but only in that case. Uh, and they should tell them to wind their neck in and sort out the issues and bring it back to them. But this is apparent allegedly the first case where the Commons decided we'll just create more lords and they will vote the way we want because we've put them in there. King George the
Well,
First.
this is the same thing as they've done in America with the what is it the
House,
judges.
the House of the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court, yeah, they've got three. They deliberately divided the power into three parts. We've
Yeah.
got two. We've got the House of Commons and the House of Lords. It's
Oh,
deliberate. They got three, and the Supreme Court is their only job is to uphold the Bill of Rights or whatever it is they've got. The original what they wrote down. This is how we're going to run America, right?
right. Yes.
They've now found that they can rig it. What was it?
Yes. Well,
Five? Oh, but there's only two Democrats, so we'll up it to seven. We'll have four Democrats,
oh, there.
and
This
so
is
on.
the the interesting thing is the Supreme Court has been at 9 judges for a very long time in America, but it hasn't always been nine.
Exactly.
And
Yeah, this is what I'm
right,
saying.
right, and it's not in any regulation. Uh, although I don't know if their political system would take somebody just stacking it. I don't know. It remains to be seen, particularly if the Democrats get in again, because I think I think they would do that because they're not having much
Yeah. So
luck.
imagine, right? If that does all that comes true, that happens, and you lived in the generation of humanity where they got so fucking close to actually getting what is it, a representative, whatever they call it, right, but for that one thing, and then
Yep,
some arseholes came along and stacked it and ruined the whole thing.
yep. Uh,
Mm,
uh, Amanda Lee, not very well educated in this subject, but how does someone like Stephen Lawrence's mum become a member of the House of Lords? Really easy. Tony fucking Blair. Tony fucking Blair uh, decides we will make people like that lords,
you
and
just
then it
get
can be done.
picked.
Yeah, but the the interesting thing is, while potentially, if there was a limit on the amount of people in the House of Lords, say it was 200 seats, and a government come out and says we're making that 250 and create another 50 lords, the government that comes in behind them could reintroduce the limit of seats and bring it back to 200. Those other 50 people, they would keep their peerage, but they would just not be able to sit in the House. I think that's where the check and balance needs to be, where there's a mechanism for the Commons to go, right here, fuck, you've got this amount, pick the fucking sensible ones. But, oh, that's doubtful. Right. So, King George largely withdrew from an active role in governance, and in 1721, Robert Walpole, the leader of the Whigs in the House of Commons and the Cabinet, was appointed the first unofficial Prime Minister and became the head of the government. So the first time we've got a government that resembles our government is 1721. It was a couple of hundred years after we started to try to get something like this. Unlike previous leading ministers, he did not accept elevation to the House of Lords, instead remaining a member of the House of Commons. The principle that the government was subject to the House of Commons was reinforced in 1782 when the government of Lord North resigned because the Commons did not support his policies. So the House of Commons basically kicked him out. The inferior status of the House of Lords was formally institutionalised in the Parliament Act of 1911 and 1949. Uh, Interestingly, both connected to world wars. The former act, which resulted in the Lords' rejection of the People's Budget of the Liberal Party, Chancellor of Exchequer David Lloyd George in 1909, specified that money bills, i.e., bills that impose taxation or spend public funds, could be presented for royal assent after 1 month, with or without the Lord's consent. It also limited the 2 years of length of time that the Lords could delay government legislation. A later amendment in 1949 reduced this period to 1 year. This becomes interesting because whenever the Lords stopped Brexit, there was a lot of talk about the Lords only being able to delay the bill that gave us a proper Brexit for a year, and then they would have to accept it. But somehow something changed, and the Lords were allowed to just throw it out. I believe it's something to do with changes made by Tony Blair. The preamble to the 9/11 bill foreshadowed even more substantial changes in the relationship between the two chambers. Whereas it is intended for to substitute for the House of Lords as it present exists, a second chamber constituted on a popular instead of hereditary basis, but such substation cannot be immediately brought into operation. So which sounds strange for right. This is getting ready for the Representation of People's Acts in 1911 because at that stage we still didn't have the everybody have the vote. Although the House of Lords was not replaced with an elected chamber, the Parliament Act significantly diminished its power, and future governments threatened the Lords with extension if they oppose important government legislation, like the fucking Brexit bill. But apparently that was fine because it's Labour that calls for every changes, and it is Conservatives that just fucking act or just fucking I don't know, do fuck all. What? Oh, fuck. Here, Paca. Here's a question for you.
Go on.
See, whenever Labour's been in for 4 years
Yeah.
and they have been doing a load of bullshit, have you ever seen a Conservative government come in behind them and go repeal, 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 and just take everything that they did back and stop it?
No.
Have you ever heard of a Labour government doing that with any of the stuff that the government puts, the Conservatives have put in?
No.
But apparently,
They're not two cheeks of the same arse.
yes, you would you you, you would think that once they would reverse something.
Again, this is what I try to explain to people. This is why Trump. This is why people don't get what it is about Trump. It's not right. In the UK and America, we have the same system. We have two cheeks of the same arse. We're all
Mm,
in it together. I said to someone the other day, if in the American government they started going after each other in the same way as they've gone after Trump, the American government would cease to exist in about 36 hours.
if
Because
that,
all of a sudden, they would all be being indicted on shit that they shouldn't have done because they're all in it together. That's the problem,
yes,
right? They are the swamp exists. They have one and we have one.
mm,
That's how our governments are run.
and
That is what, in a nutshell, is wrong with our governments. It's a
and
swamp. It's a
and
system.
the reason why they won't indict the other swamp monsters is
Because
because
yeah, they'll all go down in a New York minute. They'll all be
yeah,
gone.
well, as soon as the first one's on the stand, they're going to find ways to bring in all sorts of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll be. It's no different to black.
Right,
It's no different.
the whole world knows that Epstein didn't hang himself. The whole world knows that Pelosi's the guy that attacked Pelosi's
Oh
husband with a hammer was invited in, most
yes.
likely, allegedly. Sorry, let me get salty cracker about this. Allegedly, in
Oh
Minecraft, the whole world knows these things.
yeah. Well,
But you know, the
there's
last thing that the party told you was to believe your lying eyes or something along those lines. I
yeah.
can't remember.
Yeah, the probability is the guy that turned up at Pelosi's house was an employee of sorts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine
Uh,
a policeman asking you straight faced, why is there a man in your living room with a hammer in his underpants?
I don't know. Yeah, it's a really confusing situation. You know, it's mad. It is totally mad. Oh, there was something else I was going to ask you there. Uh, yeah, at, at some point, at, at some point, there's going to have to be a proper change. I think the fact if Trump does get in again, it's impossible to say exactly what he's going to do. Ludwig, the 9/11 moon landings was an outside job.
Yeah, that is where we are. That is right where we are. I mean, you know, a couple of I don't know how long, but at some point in the future, people when all this shit has gone down and been sorted and sift through and has finally been made sense of, people are going to look at this time in their life in humanity and go, "Fuck!" They wore masks outside and stood 2 meters apart and drove around in their cars on their own with masks on. They did that.
Yeah.
They actually fucking did that. That's
Oh,
actually what fucking happened. These grown ass adults.
followed the arrows in the fucking supermarket.
Yep, yep.
Uh,
Yeah, it was what you wear your life jacket so that bloke over there doesn't drown. Okay,
oh, the interesting thing is the fuckers are still doing it.
I know. So we're right back to this is why not everybody should vote.
Mm. Where
So
would you how would you organize voting rights?
oh shit, I don't know. I know it's wrong, right? But so there was a situation in this country whereby you had to have a license to own a dog,
Right? Do
but
you,
you didn't have to have a license to have a child. Okay. Now, there are certain rules set in place to protect dogs that you would assume were just a given when it came to having children. But as it turns out, because humans are the animals they are, no.
but you
So I am along the lines of if you live in a society whereby you should have a license to own a dog, you should thereby pass some kind of test to have children because it is for the betterment. Shit. See
right,
now I'm now
right,
now I'm
but
sounding like
the dog license thing is it's just a register. So as they know everybody owns a dog, right?
well yeah, but
But they
so
know everybody.
therefore if you think
So
that is an issue, you should
no,
therefore think that's the same issue applies to let's just
you
I
mean
mean
like
we're
the
not
birth certificate,
necessarily
like
saying anything bad's going to happen, but let's just
right?
keep an eye on
No,
everyone who has a child.
but do you mean like the birth certificate that they do with every child? They register every child to its parents.
Oh no, go on then. You're right. Yeah, yeah, talking at me ass. Crack on.
But I do get your analogy. You just picked the wrong one.
Yeah,
It, personally speaking, where I would go with tax is with folks would be taxpayers. Are you a net taxpayer? You get a vote. Are
oh,
you?
your contribution to society.
Yeah. Well, the in in my humble point of view, at least 70% of government, probably more, is dependent on how the tax money spent. And I think that allowing non-taxpayers to vote is like organizing a barbecue for the street and saying who wants to who wants to pay in. Everybody decides that they want to pay in. Then they gather the money and go to the butchers to buy the meat for the barbecue. But the people who didn't chip anything in come along behind and say, "Oh, by the way, you need to buy this different stuff instead because that's what we want." I know we didn't pay in to contribute to it, but you just need to do what we want. I don't think that would fly. I don't think it's the same way with voting. And the other thing is, if uh, if you had only taxpayers, you would never have a incentive to keep people on benefits.
You're advocating for running a system whereby people who vote
Yep,
get their eligibility to vote on their
by tax.
contributing to the system.
Yeah,
Okay, but that does right, and that does sound fair enough. I'll be honest, but there is then left a loophole to keep people out of the system by limiting their contribution to it.
But well, if it
So
if
what I mean is the lowest of the low can still could therefore still be exploited because their contribution is so low they don't get a vote.
oh no, it's quite simple. If you pay income tax, you're the same as everybody else. Nobody gets extra votes for extra money. It's just do you do work? Do you pay tax? You get a vote. Do you
Right.
not work?
Okay.
Do
So
you,
everyone that works,
yeah,
anyone that pays it into the system,
yeah,
no matter how small. Right. Okay.
yeah. Right. Do
Anyone
you
that
know
does
what?
more than 16 hours a week or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's pretty much where it's at.
Okay.
Right. Uh, and if you happen to be in such a shitty job that you get that you're earning below the tax rate and doing a full a proper week's work, I would close that company and get somebody and say you need to get other people to do this job. It's going to pay their people properly. Sorry, I'm just checking the comments. But yeah, I think that anybody that's doing say 4 days a week should be earning enough to be paying income tax, then that gets them in.
So 3 or 4 days a week, you should certainly be above getting any benefits,
Yep.
and you should be paying tax on the money you earn on
Oh
3 or 4 days a week. Because you know where we are right now at the bottom of
oh
the scale.
the other thing is getting benefits might not necessarily take you out because there's a lot of people that work, but
Yeah.
because of their circumstances, they're entitled to benefits that we've decided to give people because we want to help people in certain situations.
Right. So
Uh,
you all know this. You all know where I work. Yeah. I'm a handyman
yeah,
in a nursing home. Right.
yeah,
I know carers
yeah,
who are single parents with
yeah.
children,
Oh,
have
they're
other
all
shit going on. They have other shit going on in their lives, and they only work 16 hours a week because if they work more, they lose benefits. It
yeah.
is not worth it to them.
Well,
Right. I know one who is an excellent carer.
right
Right.
now, here's an interesting
That's
thing.
a waste.
See if see if see if being on benefits was putting those people in danger of coming off the voting roll, right? Uh, would politicians be more or less interested in the change in the system whereby where the benefit the way the benefits system works is absolutely shit now. You should be
Yeah.
able to work uh, extra hours, get yourself a couple of extra quid, but what you're being given is your benefit. That's yours. You get to keep that. It's we're getting in the way because what happens is those people can do the extra hours, get themselves an extra couple of quid, get themselves further trained up, move forward, eventually come out of being on any benefits, but they're in that hard part in the middle where they need to claw through that. And holding people back from doing that is not in anybody's best interests.
No.
I think I think we should let people be able to crack on, uh, keep their benefits. Oh, by the way, they've got to file everything. But they want to be putting these people where they're trying to do fucking off the book hours or anything. They need to be able to report it to everything nice and legal. You get because your circumstances X, you get Y amount per month, and that's yours. You keep that. Do your extra hours, better yourself. Whereas our system seems to be do less work, do less hours, depend on us more, and the more you depend on us, the more we can fuck you over.
Yeah.
Having Having people vote for more free shit never helped any country.
Nope. It's a weird system, isn't it? Because the people that are here are encouraged to sit and do nothing, and then when they've managed to do that, they go, "Oh, now we need more people to fill the jobs that these people that we're overpaying on benefits won't do."
Oh,
Because we've knackered the benefit system, so it pays people to sit at home and do nothing. Because we've somehow managed to do that, now we need to bring in foreigners to do the jobs that people that we're paying to sit at home and do nothing won't do. When in actual fact, a proper economy would be making those jobs worthwhile doing, wouldn't they?
well, the thing about it is because they because they are recruiting from a worldwide pool, that devalues labor.
Yeah, obviously it does. Obviously,
Yep.
Western labour is very expensive if you consider it in a global situation. But what Western labour had was craftsmanship and quality.
Mm.
That's what we had. It didn't matter that British steel was the most expensive in the world. What you fucking knew when you bought British steel was it was the fucking best in the world. So you paid for it. All that is gone. That's what they've destroyed. So now we're just a fucking labour market like everywhere else. And if you can, they can make steel here or they can make it in Calcutta. It don't matter.
Yep. And the global supply chain is at the minute very dicey. Because there's a lot of places that can't ship through anymore. Although I think that seems to be straightening out. The Lord's power was further reduced in 1945 when an overwhelming Labour Party majority in the House of Commons faced a large reclaiming Conservative majority in the House of Lords. By the seal by the Salisbury Convention of that year, the Lords were forbidden from rejecting any bill passed by the Commons that fulfilled a promise in the party's election manifesto. Notably, the manifesto adopted by the Labour Party for elections in 1983, which the party lost, promised abolition of the House of Lords. So there we've got in 45 people saying that the Lords couldn't interfere with what the Commons did. And in 83, we've got the Labour Party again trying to totally eliminate the House of Lords. The 1990s hereditary privilege was severely diminished when, in a prelude to a wider reform, the Labour government of Tony Blair eliminated the right of all but 92 hereditary peers to sit and vote in the Lords. Each session of Parliament is opened with a speech by the monarch from the throne in the House of Lords in the presence of the members of the House of Commons. The speech written by the government and handed to the sovereign. So remember this, people, why the king can't change a lot is because he's no fucking power anymore. And it would be incredibly difficult for us to get back to where the king did have power. So the king's speech written in Parliament is written by the government and handed to the sovereign by the Lord Chancellor and contains a list of proposals that the government intends to introduce in the upcoming parliamentary session. So there's one version of the history of the House of Commons. I jump back to the studio. Eyes wide shut in. Evening, chum. Sorry, I'm just checking through the chat. Right. So that's basically a wrap with the House of Commons. Now, one of the things that I find quite intriguing is that I would say that the government's got two parts. It's got the part at the top where it makes the big important decisions, like let's go to war. who we're going to give an arms deal with, security of our borders, memberships of alliances like NATO and all that, which we get absolutely fuck all saying. And there's this other bit that the government do where they keep the drains clear, they empty the bins, they make agreement, do planning permission, what buildings can be built where, what height can it be, what can it look like, do it fit with the environment, all that stuff, which we as members of the general public can become very, very involved with. But the people who run the top stuff, they don't want to talk to us about the whenever we go to talk to them about immigration or going to war, they're like, no, I only deal with your drains or your bins or whatever. Don't seem they seem to want to be able to disconnect those two things, and for some weird reason, we tend to let them, as in we being the general population. Would that be fair?
Yes. Sorry, you're asking me.
Yes, I was
Yes,
asking you.
there's definitely a general disconnect between, yes, the part of the government that runs your day-to-day life, collecting the bins, sweeping the roads, fixing the potholes, yada yada, so on and so forth, and that part of the government which does whatever it wants with the sixth largest economy in the world. Is it whatever we are?
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, they're two.
Decide.
Yeah, they're two totally different entities. That's run separately by the same people, probably. But yeah,
Oh no, it's 100% the same people.
yeah, but there's no point in asking one about the other.
Right. There's no point in me doing that or you doing that. But if everybody did at the
Well, yeah.
same time on the same day, could you imagine being working on planning permission, right? And Manchester planning permission, where they normally get uh, 11 responses per application. 50 if there 50 if there's 50 if there's a campaign group behind it, and they wake up on they go into work on a Monday morning, la di da di da, and go, we've got 7,000 objections to everything on our planning list. Would they shit themselves?
Yeah.
Right. Now, see if next Monday it was Derby and they had the same issue. And then the week after it was a different county or whatever. How long before they were all talking to each other and going, the fuckers are here now? And we can't get through our workload because we've got all this stuff to do that we didn't have to do before.
It boils down to organisation. When we were offered, when people offered the option on a plate, i.e., Brexit, they took it, right?
Yeah.
But they were offered it on a plate,
Yes, they
and
didn't have to work for it.
now they're being offered reform on a plate, and I think it will get taken. But what you're asking is actual.
Change.
Yes, it's the organisation that on the left hand side, Antifa are prepared to make. They're prepared to do. And on the right, it just doesn't seem to be. It's everyone on the right is for themselves. But if you fuck once you cross my boundary, you're on the end of my 12-bore shotgun. But other than that, I don't give a shit what you do. But
Well, we're in a position where, in not that distant past, and like the peasant revolt in the 1700s, I think that was, uh, maybe 1400s, where the people en masse, because of what the government was doing, turned up with pitchforks and
Oh, yeah.
cudgels, and they took over parts of London. Now we have problems getting people to turn up to a forum with a big fucking pen. And we we need to stop the machine. We need to stop it. Churns. It works all day, every day. There are multiple legal ways that you're not only allowed to interact with it, but you're asked to. The government ask us about every policy that they have via a mechanism called a consultation document. It's legally required. They have to set forward the
Yeah, but
policy.
but they are they do that, but at the same time they are deliberately keeping people in a place where they don't care, so they're not bothered, so they don't look, so they don't interact, so they don't make any change. Do you not?
Yeah, I I get that there is a large scale apathy.
Yeah.
And we also have a problem whereby very few people want to get involved with anybody else's problem until it affects them personally.
No, there's a massive lie going on. It's huge.
Right?
There's a lie on the emperor has new clothes scale going on.
And what's the
There is no.
lie?
Well, it's massive. It's just the mainstream media and the way that it's the Overton window, whatever you call it. I mean,
Yeah,
this week, right, half of America went, "Oh my God, do you know what? I think, I mean, I'm not sure, but I think Joe Biden might have dementia."
yeah. They did. They
Right?
were.
That's what
They
they
were.
that's literally what they did this week, right?
They were
Whereas
genuinely
the other
shocked.
half of the entire fucking world was telling them that 4 years ago. They were, no, no, nope. Oh, Joe's got a stutter.
Joe's always had that speech impediment.
Yeah, yeah. Despite the fact that anyone with half a brain cell could go and look on the internet and see how Joe used to didn't stutter when he wanted his kids on different buses, going to different schools. He didn't have a stutter then.
No, he the stutters knew. Uh, the
It,
the
it's so
const.
massive. I can't. I talk to people. I live in the countryside, and it's fairly right wing. People are fairly based, fairly. But I ask them some questions, and they just repeat the mainstream narrative.
Right. Okay. Joe Joe Biden obviously has dementia. Got elected. What's the other guy in America? Fat man with brain injury.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Although he has turned out to be more based recently, but yeah, yeah,
Oh
he
well.
wasn't.
Oh, but he has went back to the way he was. Do you know the
Yeah,
way
someone was
he
home, but you couldn't see if the lights were on. That was the
right?
trouble to
Yeah,
start
but
with.
right, he was like that. Then it's like he woke up
Yeah,
and he was based for a small amount of time.
right.
Actually coincides with when he was separated from his wife
Yeah.
and may have had a change of medication.
Ah,
Uh, but he then the switch turned again and he went back to the way he was, I think, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what stage he's at now, but the last I'd heard, he sort of went back to where he was.
I haven't seen that bit. I just heard that he
Yeah,
kind of woken up a bit and got more based.
yeah, right. Now, see, in Spain, they have elected a member of parliament with Down syndrome. I'm going to say it again to let it sink in. The
Oh
Spanish
yeah,
government have elected a member of parliament with Down syndrome.
yeah.
And with no disrespect to disabled people, with any form of disability, but I think anybody that looks at a person with Down syndrome and thinks that person can do a better job of representing my views than I can, and I'm going to send them forth to debate my position for me, has got problems.
Well, you've only got first world problems, haven't you? If that's the case,
Yeah,
that's the trouble. Is it like if your life is so fucking hunky dory that you can have someone who
yeah,
is impaired
yes.
go and do whatever it is they feel like doing rather than actually represent your views, your life must be pretty sweet.
The FAA, the Federal Aviation Authority in America, they're the people who, for the record, if you want to build a new aircraft, they oversee the testing of it, make sure that stress tested properly, that it's not going to fall out of the sky. They also oversee the quality of the build, and they also run the air traffic control in America. They have applied for people with brain injuries. They have put an advertisement looking for people with brain injuries because they need people with brain injuries to improve their diversity scores.
What prizes are these diversity scores going to win?
I don't know. I really don't, but I I agree with Henry Ford in some matters where, but Henry Ford did an amazing thing with his Ford plant. Uh, he'd go along the line and go, "Can you see this job that you're doing here? Could a man with one arm do it?" And the manager would go, yeah, one armed man to do that job. Good, get me one armed man to do that job. Can somebody with no legs do that job in a wheelchair? Get me people with no legs to do that job. But they had to be able to do the job. I don't know what world. Sam, I'm sorry. I made a time this bad, but the aircraft have always been have been shit for quite some time. But no, whenever you're going, that person with the brain injury, I want them to control my aircraft or my air traffic or anything like that. I don't think that's a good idea.
Probably not.
Uh, what else did I have? I wanted to look at on the whole Parliament thing because there was something that. Oh shit! Me trying to get stuff sorted out and the pop up starts playing music. I'm sorry, people. Uh, yes, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Magna Carta. Uh, oh, sorry. I'm gonna. Let's be honest. The ones in charge of their respective departments can't run those departments anyway. The more they fuck up, the higher they seem to climb. It's called
Yeah,
feeling upwards, and it's very common in the aircraft industry.
it's
You get
very
some.
common in every industry.
Yep.
You
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 get
put
some.
you if someone's very shit, you promote them until they get to a point where actually they're a manager of somewhere, but no one under them listens. The people under them just get the fucking job done right and completely ignore them, their manager.
Yeah. That's exactly what happens. Those that can't do get promoted.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do we all remember the It Crowd? The Gingerbread and the It Crowd, a shining example. Thought the internet was that box.
Who was this?
The It Crowd, that TV
Oh,
series.
all right. Yes, right. The crowd.
They
Yes,
brought their box here with the red flashing light and told her it was the internet.
yeah. It's it sounds familiar. Although I have seen people buying things that are supposed to get them free television channels that were just a plastic box with a bulb in it and plugged in their TV, and were watching Sky for a month, and we're all surprised whenever they got a big bill.
We're back to people that should or shouldn't vote.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is well. Here's one for you that I would get to would disbar people from voting. Getting free television off a Fire Stick. That should be an automatic ban.
Well, if you do that,
Yeah, you're consuming way too much television.
I don't have one, by the way. It isn't me. I just
Right.
find that a funny. I just find that a curious place to draw the line.
Oh well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you where I've got that from. See the people that I see in work or in different places that are always having conversations about their Fire Stick and what the current code is for the free TV and all that sort of stuff. They know fuck all about anything
Right.
because all they're doing is another one that will give you is watching football matches of teams you don't support outside of major tournaments.
So if you just watch football just for the sake of watching football,
Right, yeah. It's like
what
right,
about Love Island? Love
right.
Island's on the list, surely. If you watch Love Island, you
I'm
shouldn't be allowed to vote.
right. I'm not as pissed off with Love Island as I am. But here's the thing, right? I'm a Liverpool supporter, right? If Liverpool's playing live on the TV, I'm going to watch it. Right? If it's in my current package, which is very rare of the time, I've got the most minimal package you can get, but still have TV. I would be on free to air, but where I am, getting the right side aerial to make that work just doesn't work. Uh, but if Liverpool's on, I'll watch it. If it's any other team, I generally won't. But I see all these wankers that around the place, and they're watching a football match, a live football match every night of the week, and they're watching teams that they don't support and don't like. And I'm like,
But hang on a minute, because that makes your favourite pundit. Who's your favourite pundit?
I don't
Because whoever
really
that
have
is, that makes them that same wanker because they watch
no,
football for the sake of football because
no,
they love it.
no. He's at work. That pundit's at his work. That's his job.
Right, but so if you love it
Yeah.
but you don't get paid for it, your
Right.
opinion doesn't count.
No, if you're going to watch, if you're going to watch Liverpool one night, Arsenal the next night, Bayern Munich the next night, and I don't know,
I get you.
Costa,
I
right,
get you.
right,
But some
and
people do. They love football. They love
right,
football for football's sake.
yeah. I can't think of many people that I've met that are like that that have anything sensible to say. But
Other than football pundits
right,
who say things like
no,
jumpers to the goalposts, small boys in the
well,
park.
well, I can't ban football pundits from voting, but I can. See, this, right? Isn't no.
I'm not disagreeing with you, to be fair. I'm just
Uh,
playing devil's advocate. I think, yeah, ban football pundits from voting because they're footballers generally, and
yeah.
they have led a very one-track life.
Well, a lot of people have led one-track lives. You, there's a lot of very good engineers who have done fuck all only engineering. I don't know. I honestly don't think we can go as far as banning people with fire sticks from voting, but it wouldn't be a bad idea. It, next, you'll be in the IQ test, and we'll have all sorts of problems.
Well, this is the thing. We should, there's a certain section of society that believes you should just take the warning labels off of everything and let nature sort itself out. You know what I mean?
Well,
People that need telling not to play on the railway lines shouldn't have children. Is the fundamental behind that?
right, and people. Well, the question is, did the people that put the label on the children's T-shirts that says "Remove child before washing"? Were they being serious?
Yeah, yeah. It's difficult to tell these days, isn't it?
Yeah,
I saw one a while back that it said in the used to tell you in the car manual how to change the gaps on the tappets.
it did indeed.
Yeah, now it tells you not to drink the contents of the battery.
Yes, this is very true. And
Right?
the other thing is, have you lifted the bonnet on a relatively modern car anytime
Yes,
lately?
yes. Yeah,
Can you see?
my truck is a glorious 22 years old, so I lift the bonnet and I can see things.
Yeah,
But these days, you lift the bonnet, and what you're presented with is another plastic cover,
yes,
which is screwed down with screws with heads on that you've never seen in your fucking life. It's like something from ET.
yeah. Well,
It's not a flathead or a crosshead or an Allen key. It's some fucking 7.5 pointed
it's
star
a
crosshead.
torque. It's a 17 torque.
Yeah,
Spoken like someone's had to fuck about what recently.
they all are.
Yeah, it's an absolute nightmare. Uh, here's one for you. You being a handyman, you probably get this, but you lift this, you lift a 50-piece socket set. There's 49 pieces in
10 mil.
it. Yes, every fucking
The
time.
question was, which one is missing?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah. It's
yeah,
always a 10 mil,
yeah.
and the whenever you get something,
Unless at that particular moment you happen to be looking for a 13 or a 14 mil, in which case
yeah,
the
so
10
it's
mil is
not.
probably there.
Uh, a lot of the stuff in cars tend to be a number 17 uh, track, torque head. And interestingly, the 17 only comes in the very, very largest kits. Yep. Look for saying it's always a 13 in his case.
Yeah, we had to buy a socket set for when I started taking the boy karting with his own cart. We had to buy a socket set with a 22 mil spark plug socket in it, but
Yeah.
it had to be a particular depth because of karting engines,
Right.
which suddenly turned the search into a 22 mil socket into a fucking needle in a haystack because it was actually way deeper than what you would normally buy.
Right.
Found it.
Yeah. It's almost like they think they're making these cars for rich fuckers.
Almost like, yeah, it's almost like, yeah, the commoner is priced out of motor racing.
Yeah. It's like
I
we'll
don't
make
know
it.
about that.
Yeah, we'll make it for rich people.
Yeah.
We'll make random things with
Is Rory in?
Rory
Are
is
you
in,
there,
and
Rory? Rory, we're looking for sponsors, Rory.
did you not see? Did you not see? Did you not see Rory's comment? I've come up with a new name for your guest.
42. I've come up with a new name for your guest, Pack a Wanker. Is
Yeah,
that how we said it?
I think this has got something to do with the story Herbert.
Yeah, no, that's left on there from before. I can't remember why I even put that on there. That isn't even tonight.
you just logged in and there it was.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't look before I joined.
Um,
Sorry, Rory, I love you.
Rory is great. He is, and he. I hope he's still listening because he's hopefully going to be a end of the month guest very shortly. Uh, I need to finalize a couple of things about who's getting an invite this month, but yes, and I believe you were on the last one. Were you not? You were.
Me.
Yes,
Are we going
with
back to
your
the story about the recipes?
yes. So
You're
that
bringing
means
that up.
that means on the next one you do get an option to make a small contribution near the end, uh, and state your case for yours being the most interesting story that we've had so far.
What, my recipe story?
Yeah, it's your recipe story.
I might just to be a git, but I'm
Yeah,
unsure that I really should ever revisit it again. But I might do just because stir the pot. It was awful. It's like no. Did make me laugh though.
like what gets into your what gets into people's heads.
Hey,
You have to wonder what gets into people's heads sometimes.
yeah, it's like we all like. I'm not being a prude, right? We all think of weird shit. We all do, right? We all think of fucking really weird shit. You've done it, you know you have.
Yeah,
Some really fucking outrageous out there fucking shit, right? But most normal people like us, what we do when that happens is we think of it and go, well, that fucking escalated quickly, right? And then, right, we move on with our lives and we never mention that to anyone else, right? You've got these fucking weirdos, they write that shit down and make a story out of it. Oh, I thought I'd try sperm in me dindins.
yeah, yeah. Have you got all the ingredients for this cake? Oh fuck.
Hang on a minute. Let me get the old man in.
Mm,
Anyway, yeah, no, probably not.
yeah. No, fucking
No, should we? Let's move on.
yeah. Chat that I, the chat that I self delete. What are you on about, Mrs. Hunter? Uh, our pay's our pay is about Linda. He's just quite busy, and you will hear from him not in the not too distant future. I'll predict that. Uh,
He's all right, is he?
yeah, yes, he's okay. He's just busy.
Excellent.
Because our pie was going to be on tonight. Uh, then I messaged him at the start of the month, and he went, "Yes, definitely, love to." Blah blah blah. And then I messaged him at the start of the week. Went, "You still okay?" And he went, "Mate, I'm really sorry. Stuff come up. I just can't." And I went, right, okay, no worries. But then Sansom Hillarelli, he's got Sansom's away this weekend and next weekend. So I'm just going to leave the end of the month one till next month.
Sensum's away a lot lately, and he used to be the busiest man on YouTube. He was just everywhere, but he's away for work a lot, which is like good
Yeah.
for him.
Oh, I'm glad to see it. It,
Yeah, yeah.
it seems that pre-COVID, Sansom did a hell of a lot of work. Then COVID happened. His work all slowed down. He did more YouTube.
Right.
Now his work's coming back to where it was. I think. I'm not 100% sure. Uh, if I'm wrong, I'll happily eat that humble pie. But I think that's what's going on with Sansom.
Good. I'm glad for him. Glad he's busy. I ain't seen. I've seen Toffee in chats lately, but I ain't seen him stream. Has he stopped on a? When was he doing one? Saturday or Monday? When was he going?
Having a clue. Well, whenever anyone else will allow them to stream on their platform, Toffee don't have a channel.
No. Well, he did.
No, he
But
didn't.
he was doing one on Sensen's Money, and Sensen was
Yep.
basically producing it, and he was doing it.
Yeah.
I can't remember whether it was a Saturday or Monday night, and it was going to be regular, but then I don't know. I haven't seen it, and I just wondered if I'd missed it or it just hadn't happened.
I honestly don't know. I know very little about what he does. Right, 1 second. Lufer Sheffield saying this coming Monday will be the 108th anniversary of the song. If I may be allowed to make a recommendation, John Harris Covenant with Death or Martin Middlebrook First Day of the Song. I will add to that. The probability is that on Monday evening I will be live streaming the East Belfast Song Memorial Parade. This is a band parade that happened, Orange Order parade that happens every year to commemorate the Battle of Somme. And I am 95% sure I'm going to take a plunge, take a wee trot down the street and live streaming, let you all see the parade itself, also a little bit of where it starts in the local area and whatnot. So if anybody's interested in that, that should be coming up. As was mine. Kudla King. We're all getting that age where, yeah. One momento. Oh, when did you send that message? In the private chat? Was it a while ago? Fuck, I nearly called you Story. You're muted, Mr. Packer.
Yeah, sorry, just now. I sent it just now. And yeah,
All right,
excuse me,
okay.
everybody.
Right.
I'm going, yeah.
Tell you what I'll do. I'm going to do a very quick musical interlude, and then so you can bugger off the toilet, and then we'll right. One momento. I'll get a little. I'm gonna go with a sea shanty because I like a sea shanty. All right, one momento. Got the compilation. That's not the one I wanted. It's all right. Yeah, it's not that one either. Sorry. One momento. Fuck's it. Right. Actually. Where the fuck did this go? In advertisements. Right. StreamYard. Share screen. Share screen.
Now you're ready to sail for the Horn. Way, roll and go. Our boots and our clothes, boys, are all in the porn. To be rollicking randy dandy, oh. Heave a pole, heave away. Way, roll and go. The anchor's on board and the cable's all stored. To be rollicking randy dandy, oh. Soon we'll be warping her out through the locks. Way, hey, roll and go. Where the pretty young girls all come down in their frocks. To be rollicking randy dandy, oh. Heave up, Polo, heave away. Hey, hey, roll and go. The anchor's on board and the cable's all stored to be rollicking randy dandy oh. Come breast the bars, bullies, heave her away. Way, hey, roll and go. Soon we'll be rolling her down through the bay to be rollicking randy dandy oh. Heave up, Polo, heave away. Way, hey, roll and go. The anchor's on board and the cable's all stored to be rollicking randy dandy oh.
There we go. That was a little sea shanty. And, well, we're an hour and 40 minutes in. What are your thoughts about the whole Parliament and how broke it is?
I said right at the start of the stream, the whole thing's fucking broken. The whole thing's infiltrated. It doesn't matter who you vote for. I will vote for reform, but I don't believe for 1 second that Farage is our man, because he's not. And in exactly the same way as when people voted for Brexit for the reasons they did, and then that didn't happen, exactly the same applies. Don't expect Farage to get in and then the boats to stop. However, what you are doing is voting for the boats to stop. So yes, send that message. That's fine.
I think what we need to do is do that, but also over the next 4 years, get involved with the nuts and bolts, instigate plan FTSU, which is fuck their shit up. Everything that the politicians like to do, get in there, mess it up, don't let them do it easily, and do it overwhelmingly that it totally pisses them the fuck off. We'll break the Parliament, we'll break the civil servants, and we'll go, I tell you what, you want to get back to having all your nice stuff, make our country good for us first, and then we will give you peace and quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. But that takes the kind of organisation that a vote that just, is offered up to us. Doesn't. And I'm happy to go on a march, but someone needs to organise that march, and that's how 95% of the people that feel like we do actually feel.
The last thing we need to do is go on marches.
No, but you know what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Is just like
right.
It's the 20% of the people in a company that do 70% of the work is what is needed.
Right. As someone like yourself who's a non-activist, right? Do you know what the purpose of a protest or a march is? If you're going to run it as an activist, right? Do you know what
to draw attention to your
no
concern.
God no, it's much more than that, right? This is a bit that we have missed out. What your march or what your protest is a demand for a chair at the table, and you use your protest to make it abundantly clear that they're not going to have a quiet life until they let you into the table. Now, when people on our side have held protests and marches, they have not even stated what table they want the chair at, let alone they've not even said that they wanted a chair at the table. They've just said, look at me. But that only works if you've got something to follow it up. It's like if I get a meeting with a civil servant, on the bit of paper that I carry in with me, I've got 3 things written on it. The person's name, so that I can glance at the note and not get the name wrong, where it is, and what I want out of that meeting. Because your meeting, your protest, everything has to have an end goal to it. Otherwise, you're literally screaming at the wind. We haven't figured that out yet.
By the way, everybody, I've been through this exact experience with 42, and he's not lying here.
Right. Right. Did you know that we have a committee on immigration
Right?
in the Parliament?
Got a committee on everything.
It would be possible to find out who's on that committee. And once you've got that information, it would be possible to bring your protests or your questions to any constituency. It's not meeting, clinic that they have where they go around and allow people to talk to them. It would be perfectly possible to turn up at every one of those. And whenever they go, why are you asking me about immigration? Because you're on the committee, fucking dickhead. I know you're not here for that. I know you're not here for that job today, but that's in your fucking remit. So we are going to keep asking you to do your job. We could do that. Or we could continue to attempt to win the internet. We're at the stage where you keep on seeing these videos are put up, massive win by, somebody destroys, leftist, blah blah blah. There's fuck all in product. It's like pumping ball. It's like pumping balls in the box whenever the only centre forward you have is Darwin Núñez. It's not going to work. And we need to have an actual plan with our activism. Protests are about demanding your seat at the table. So make it clear with your protest where that table is and what you want. And an aspirational thing like we want the boats stopped isn't going to cut it. You need a plan. You need the name of legislation that you think is wrong. You need the amendment basically written out that you can handle a person and go, here, bump, this is where you're at, this is what we want. Read that fucker. And this is 600 years ago, you did have to turn up with a pitchfork. Now you only need to turn up with a pen. We could have, do you know what we could do? How ludicrous we could make this? The only thing stopping our government having an actual proper debate about whether or not Elmer Fudd encourages gun crime is numbers. Because we have a system whereby you put whatever bullshit you want onto a Downing Street website, and if 100,000 people decide that they would like that debated, they have to debate that. Why don't we do that?
Is this connected to the whole Jedi being a religion thing and all that shit?
No,
which is why enough people say.
No, right, but our government and its wisdom decided that they would have a website whereby the British public could present things that they would like debated by the government, and if enough people signed on to it via the petition, they would debate that.
Sounds very sensible so far.
Right. Yes.
Go
And
on.
we got uh, it was that mechanism that got us the debate on the rape gangs, which didn't really go anywhere. But we
Yeah.
did get that done. Right. No.
No, we had an inquiry. Well, what did
Right.
you find? Oh, we're not telling you.
Right. I understand. Right. Okay. Now,
Brilliant.
what
Brilliant.
about what about what about you then go, okay, you had your inquiry, you had your debate, you were taking the piss, you didn't take it seriously. Now go debate fucking Tom and Jerry.
Mm.
And after they've been forced to debate Tom and Jerry, go, we made them do that. We organized that petition. We got the things filled because until they're going to take our issue seriously, we're going to force them to debate stupid bullshit. And we have that power. And if they want us to stop, just be good.
Right, okay. Why don't we just say that if there's anybody listening that thinks this is a good idea, and I do, I concur because I can see how this thing will snarl up the cogs of power. Um, you want to try and make this happen? Go for it. Do it. Make it happen. I'll join. I don't mind emailing people. Yeah, happy troll for that idea. I would
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a word with Woodlander. See where the if he can help you out with the where the legal land lies. But yeah,
Uh,
that's what
the
they do. That's
yeah,
what they do, isn't it? That's what Hope Not Hate is and all that shit.
yeah. Well, here's the thing. See, for the vast majority of organized lobbying work has been, you had to use a pen and paper.
Yeah.
You had to actually sit on a Sunday night while you were watching the Janice Long show and write out your listen to your Janice Long show on Radio One on Sunday night and write out your whole fucking thing and then post that off with a stamp. Now you got to sit at your computer and go tap tap tap. And if you spend half an hour a week on political content. If you watch this show, you obviously spend more than half an hour a week on political content. So we're not asking you to spend less time on political stuff. We're not asking you to change anything. Just maybe take an extra 4 minutes, fill in a form, and then fuck off again and get on with your life. And just fuck their shit right up.
Someone needs to organise it. It'd be fine. I'll
Yeah.
be happy with that. We'd all be happy with that, wouldn't we? Like, you know.
Well, I'll tell you what I will do. the next time I'm responding to the consultation document, I'll let you all know.
I mean, that simple idea attached to, and I don't know who. Honest to God, I watch who I watch, and
Yeah,
I like who I like, and I never look at how many people are watching. But I'm assuming amongst the people that I watch, sorry, there are some quite big streamers, and that kind of thing attached to those streamers would have an effect if it was, properly targeted.
yeah,
If you could kind of gauge how many signatures, complaints, whatever you were going to get from someone's stream, you could then target that amount of people where it needed to be to affect change.
Do you know how government recognize how serious an issue is? They take the amount of letters, emails, and everything they get and multiply that by 1,000.
Yeah, this
But
is it. This is why
right,
keeping
yeah,
most people in their little bubble of
yes, but
it's not
the
affecting me, so I don't care. That's why
the
that's so important to them.
the reason why they do that is because they know that for every one person that writes, there's another 999 that think the exact same bastard thing, but are too lazy to write it. You know, it's baked into the system. It's something we could actually have a go at. Steve Cray, what about you, chum? Glad to see you.
I did just drink to that, Steve. Oh, honey bun.
Right. Now, on that, we're up to an hour and 55 minutes. Anything that we haven't covered that you would like to talk about?
No, I just came in here because the invite went out, and I just thought,
Yeah.
I'll go and derail this shit.
Yeah. Well, Mac, Packer, it has been absolutely lovely streaming with you tonight, and it has actually helped a lot because I've been trying to flesh out my thoughts, which does work a lot better with a two-way conversation.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it does. It does. It helps a lot, and also sometimes I think I might have brain farts. I don't know that we can get the ban people from voting because they watch too much television, but I think we should be able to.
I'm kind of with you on that one.
You
Kind
know,
of
but
makes sense.
it's right. If you look at all the free television there is available for the average person, see if you've had to go and try to get more free television. There's some. The only people pay for pornography on the internet.
Yeah, that's just so weird, isn't it? Why would you? I don't get it. That's the most insane thing ever.
Yes, I'll state my case. I'm
It's like
not a
going to
fan.
the beach and paying someone to spray you with salt water at the beach. So, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're on the internet.
Well, perhaps her that sold the seashells by the seashore wasn't just selling seashells.
Clever girl.
Yeah, I think that there was favors coming with them seashells.
Yeah, not only could you hear the sea, you could smell it.
Yes.
I've gone too
Yeah.
far, haven't I?
No, you haven't. Sorry, I'm just reading. Yeah, I was just reading that book recommendation. I will look that up. Right. Well, then I will find us a outro then and wrap this up. Okay, okay. Boomer, hit the wrong button there. It's a video file I want. Red. I think a bit of harmony, melody, and rhyme.
Excellent choice.
Yes. Thank you.
Hello, this is 42 speaking. Welcome to the Resistance. You are not alone, and we shall walk this journey together. What about you, John? If one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. Let us gather together those that can perform, and from the scarred timbers build our own platform. From that grand house they tried to burn down, there's gold in the ashes if you look around. Let us gather together those that can perform, then from those scarred timbers build our own platform. Build our own platform. We will sing words of wisdom. We will sing world harmony, melody, and rhyme. We descended from minstrels in old days of yore. We will create a culture as we did once before, forced to stand by as our country was sold. Did you really think we'd leave that story untold? So one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. It have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. I have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. To stand by as our country was sold. Did you really think we'd leave that story untold? We will sing words of wisdom. We will sing we will sing harmony, melody, cry. Harmony, melody, and cry. So one brings a guitar and one brings a voice. Then they stand together and make their own choice. I have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. Never realized you could not kill a dream. So we will gather together those that can perform, and from the scarred timbers build our own platform. You're talking to 42. What about you, chum? If one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. Sing words of wisdom, we will sing for all time. We will sing for our people, harmony, melody, and rhyme. We will sing words of wisdom, we will sing for all time. We will sing for our people with the ancient trilogy of harmony, melody, rhyme. The sun each became a deity, independent parts of another trilogy. Is it a coincidence or is it just sublime that we now bring excellence in harmony, melody, and rhyme? With power and wealth, you control the mainstream, but you never realized you could not kill a dream. You cannot kill a dream. And we shall walk this journey together.
Okay, everybody. Pack has been Packer. I've been 42. You lot in the chat have, as always, been fucking amazing. Thank you. Good night. God bless. Monday night, somewhere about 7:20, I will hopefully be streaming the Song Parade, East Belfast Song Parade. I'll give you a wee quick trot around the local area, wee bit of East Belfast, and some bloody good music. If you like fifes and drums, that's your thing. And good night, God bless. I'm out of here. Goodbye.